From City at 9:30, yeah.
I call the Finance Committee to order. I want to get done. Is there any discussion that pertains to the Finance Committee? No? Okay, we have two resolutions. Resolution approving abstract of audit claims. Is there a sponsor?
Sponsor.
Terry?
I'll second.
Brian? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Resolution appointing a member to audit committee.
I'll sponsor.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right. Does anybody want to volunteer?
I would volunteer for the month of April.
Okay. Is there?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, all those in favor of voting on the resolution as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any other business to come before the committee?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
See, that's how it's done, Ryan.
Oh,
Like that.
I have to follow that?
Don't be in a hurry, now you have to wait 4 minutes.
I know.
No, you can go back to your conversation.
I wish they'd extend the Metro North to Rensselaer. Even if it was one or two trains a day. You know, it's so nice to be able to, I mean, sometimes I go to Poughkeepsie and pick it up, but then you have to, I mean, you're talking 2 hours of driving, and then you're on the train.
But can we do that? Because we need to get the time.
This year's sign up?
You said 6 o'clock meetings after year one, and just named all the committees starting at 6 o'clock.
Hearing
Or
from
we
you.
want it for just total, maybe we just go down to 5 years, all the way through. Question.
Oh, you put the liaison on first? Okay. I didn't see that. I would have went right over it. Try and limit that. Let me know whenever I'm ready.
Not the next game.
No.
Right. No. So, but what they want to know is how to make
It's a huge posting. I think they're
5 years from now.
they'll win maybe the first game. No, but this is the curse of Qs. They do really well, and then they choke.
They lost 4 of their last 5.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
No, I
Because they were going to one of those who was 1 year ago, school house 5 at the end of the year, and then
yeah. Yeah, I tricked someone in the office, we do a bracket, I tricked her that Cuse and Duke were playing in the finals. That was an easy $10. No. No. I don't think that's proper.
To say the least.
Although, I'm sure we could do it for charity.
for fun only.
Sure.
Almost.
I think your clock's slow.
I like that one. You can't really tell. Can we use that? That looks like 6:05.
Yeah, good enough, right?
Verizon time says 6:04 still though. I'm good? Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the Education and Government Committee to order. Any discussion items from committee members or legislators? One item of discussion that I'd like to bring up, we received a letter from the county exec about the Fulton Montgomery Regional Chamber of Commerce. Their president is looking to see if we would like to provide a legislative liaison to the Chamber of Commerce. And the exec is asking us to consider who of us might like to serve on the chamber board and to forward that along to him. Any thoughts?
I'll do it since nobody's jumping.
So Martin's volunteering. I
Y'all
think.
got my email.
Yes.
I feel like it'd be a conflict. of
Okay.
interest if I did.
Okay.
Plus, I'm actually still involved with one of the committees, so.
Okay.
Okay.
So Martin will keep that in mind and send that along to the exec. Okay. First resolution of the evening. Let me get to where I need to be on this. Okay, resolution amending the 2014 operating budget for Board of Elections. I will sponsor this resolution. This resolution is, it's basically appropriating revenues that are granted through the Help America Vote Act. Currently, Montgomery County has a balance of about $88,000 in this as part of this fund. So this is increasing revenues to account for that and appropriations for the same. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Martin. Discussion. Hearing none. Recommendation. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, next. Resolution amending 2014 operating budget, Board of Elections. This is a resolution. I will second this sponsor the resolution. This resolution is appropriating approximately $5,300 to increase the allowable annual hours of 2 deputy commissioners in the Board of Elections. This was requested from the Board of Elections to account for increased workload over the last couple of years. They've seen an increasing need for hours for their 2 deputy commissioners. And both combined comes to about $5,300. These are numbers that are sort of become a wash with different savings through printing. Last year, the board saved about $7,000 through printing ballots, I believe in-house.
Well, actually, a different printer.
Okay, different printers. So there's been some savings elsewhere. So I'd look for a second on this resolution.
I'll second it.
Second by Martin. Discussion. Recommendation of the committee. Move to full board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is a resolution appointing a member to the Montgomery County Court Law Library Board of Trustees, Office of the Legislature. I will sponsor this resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Martin. The Section 814 of New York State Judiciary Law creates a county court law library that requires, that is composed of Supreme Court Justice, County Court Justice, an attorney, and a legislator to be appointed by the county legislature for a 2-year term. Legislator Wheeler has indicated an interest in this appointment. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Duke. Is there anybody present that is interested? If not, I would propose an amendment to insert Barbara Wheeler into the resolved clause of the resolution.
Second.
Second by Duke. Discussion on amendment. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Further discussion on the resolution as amended. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Oh,
I
I'm
have a
sorry.
question, it's a general question. Because you just have a quorum of your committee, does that mean that every one of these resolutions has to be passed unanimously?
That is correct.
Okay.
There are only 3 of us present, so we have to be unanimous on all of them.
Do we have some cardboard get some other.
Oh, some cardboard cutouts? And sorry, if I don't see you, I'm trying to look here, so if I don't see you, speak up for discussion. So, resolution as amended, move to full board, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Next, resolution appointing member to the Montgomery County Jury Board, Office of the Legislature, I will sponsor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Martin. This board is created by Section 503 of the New York State Judiciary Law. It's made up of Supreme Court Justice, County Court Justice, County Commissioner of Jurors, and a legislator appointed by the county legislature for an indeterminate, unspecified number of years. I would volunteer myself as to serve on the jury board. We would need to discuss a term. Is there anybody else that would care to serve on the jury board first? Okay. Thoughts on a term? We could do a year, 2, or it could be coterminous with our legislative term of 3 years.
I would support coterminous with a 3-year term.
Okay. So I can make a motion to amend and insert my name, can't I? Well,
Yeah, you can. It's
okay.
not a conflict, it's not a paid position or anything, so, yeah.
I guess in that case, unless anybody else would make a motion to amend to insert Ryan White's and for a term, let's see, ending on December 31st, 2017.
I'm
16.
Okay, so that's sponsored by Duke. Second,
16, right? 14, 15, 16.
Mhm. December 31st, 2016.
oh yes, okay,
Why?
thank you.
Extending his term.
So 2016, sponsored by Duke, seconded by Martin. All in favor of the amendment? Opposed? Discussion on the resolution as amended. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Aye. Opposed? Next, okay, so the next, I think, probably 24 resolutions are to amend the standing rules of procedure of Montgomery County. I will go through and read the titles, and I believe they're all sponsored, but I'll look for a second. First is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 1, Section 1-2A, sponsored by Legislator Kelly. And I'd look for a second. And just to note, since we are, there's only 3 of us here, I would entertain sponsorship from outside the committee, from legislators.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Legislator Beniak. Discussion. Hearing none, recommendation of the committee, move to full board, all in favor? Opposed? Next. Resolution amending standing rules of procedure of Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 1, Section 1-2B. Resolution, or sponsored by Kelly, and I will second this resolution. Any discussion?
When I wrote this, we didn't have our seating charts all. I'm sorry, I wasn't recognized.
Legislator Kelly.
We didn't have this floor model. I'd like to keep it this way. I think it's functional.
I agree.
Myself as well.
Full sponsorship?
Do you want to pull sponsorship or amend to say
I think it
seated in order?
It shouldn't belong in the rules and procedure. It should just be a kindness. But I think we may need it in the future, and so I would say amend it.
Okay,
Past seating.
It became an issue once.
Yeah.
So I guess, sitting in chronological order, starting with District 1 in, what is it, the left,
From left to right.
from left to right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Second on the amendment. I will second. Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor of the amendment? Aye. Opposed? Discussion on the resolution as amended. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next. A resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 2, Rule 9. Resolution sponsored by Legislator Kelly. And I would look for a second. I will second the resolution. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed? Next. Resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 2, Rule 10, sponsored by Legislator Kelly. And I will second this resolution. Any discussion?
Yes. I don't think that this is a necessary resolution. We have the ability to call the question if we think debate has gone on too long. And this does seem to stifle debate. I think debate, even spirited debate, is a good thing for the legislature. And I don't think that this limitation, again, I don't think this limitation is necessary. If we think that something has gone on for too long, someone can simply call the question and that ends debate, and we take a vote on whether or not to discuss it further. I mean, this is an issue that's been around for a long time, and it's already been addressed through rules that allow for calling the question.
I think what I find appealing about this rule is it allows the legislature to extend debate. Now, at the same point, it allows the legislature to limit debate. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah, for instance, if the rule had been in place, I might not have been able to respond again. It certainly can limit debate, and I think that's important to know.
Any further discussion? Recommendation of the committee. Move to full board.
No,
Those all in favor?
I cast no.
Roll call, or do we need
No,
roll call?
we
We
don't.
don't need roll
We
call.
don't.
Okay. So the resolution has received a no vote and is dead in committee. Next resolution. Resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 2, Rule 11-4, number 4. This resolution is sponsored by Legislator Kelly. And I will second this resolution. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next resolution is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 2, Rule 11B, sponsored by Legislator Kelly. And I would look for a second.
I second.
Seconded by Legislator DeChessie. Any discussion?
It's a simple majority vote, right?
Yes, as written in the resolution, it's by a majority vote, simple majority. The resolution is to amend Rule 11B, stating any item may be removed from the agenda by a majority vote of the members present and voting without debate on the issue. Further discussion or questions? All in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next is a resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 2, Rule 14, Number 9, sponsored by Kelly. And I would look for a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Legislator DeChessie. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Opposed? And that passes. Next is a resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 2, Rule 14A, sponsored by Legislator Kelly. I'd look for a second. I will second. Discussion.
That's a good rule. What is that changing? What was the rule before?
It was an addition.
Oh,
Adding article, yes.
okay.
Further discussion? All in favor of moving to full board?
All right.
Opposed? Next. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 2, Rule 18.5, sponsored by Kelly. And this, I will second, it's just changing the rule from 18.5 to 18A. I will second. Any discussion? All in favor of moving to full board?
All right.
Opposed? Passes. Next is a resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 2, Rule 18B, sponsored by Kelly. I'd look for a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Legislator DeChessie. Discussion.
I know there's confusion on it, and I'll probably repeat it again. It's not, it's not when we're looking at adopting a budget, it's once the budget is adopted. So if moving forward, the 2014 budget has already been adopted, if this gets approved, we would need 2/3 vote to transfer monies. So, and I think that this is an important thing because it requires us to take the budgeting process more seriously, and that is our sole purpose, really, our major purpose of this body is the purse strings.
I would agree completely. And I think it's interesting to note that on this legislature, simple majority to super majority is only one vote, but sometimes that one vote's not always easy to come by, and this will definitely hold us more accountable to the budget as adopted. Legislator Kuchis.
Do we want to be even more detailed and say that it's 2/3 of the entire legislature, not 2/3 of the quorum present?
Shall require a 2/3 affirmative vote of all members of the legislature.
That's enough.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Maybe, to Alex's point, maybe, and it wouldn't change anything, but it might make it clearer, since some of these do provide for a majority of those present, by 2/3 affirmative vote of total membership instead of all members, total membership of the legislature. I don't know, if somebody reading this 10 years from now who wasn't party to this conversation might,
They might interpret it to
Yeah.
mean that members present.
just
Can
a
we
suggestion.
treat that as, since we're in committee, can we treat that as a, if the sponsor and second, the sponsors
You don't
agree?
need a motion to change.
Okay.
It's good.
So can you say
So,
it again? What you wanted to-
2/3 affirmative vote of the total membership, and then of the legislature. The rest of it stays the same.
Further discussion, Legislator DeChessie.
Well, this is just for transfer from any contingency line item or fund balance, so intra-fund would not be affected.
Exactly.
That's good. That's good.
Any other discussion? All in favor of moving to full board?
All right.
Opposed? Passes. Next is a resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 3, Rule 19A. Sponsored by Legislator Kelly. I'd look for a second. I will second this resolution. Is there any discussion?
Mhm.
Legislator DeChessie.
The chairman may declare an emergency and adjourn a regular meeting or special meeting to a date. At any point in time, he can just declare an emergency and then we adjourn our meeting? Is that what that means?
Well, I would hope we would. An emergency is an emergency, not just for the sake of calling it an emergency. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It should be clarified.
I gave up on that kind of hope a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Doug, may I ask, let's say, and I don't have the charter right in front of me, when the declaration of emergency is given to the exec, is it specified, thank you very much, is it specified or typically in law specified what an emergency entails?
I don't recall if the charter defines it or not. I tend to think not. I could find a copy of that too.
Mr. Supervisor, is it the chairman himself who declares an emergency when there's an emergency in the county?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, that's
Isn't
true.
it the chairman himself who declares an emergency when there's an emergency in the county?
Yes, they used to, the board chairman.
Oh, the way it
used to,
was?
Yeah.
The way
Oh,
it
yeah.
was.
I mean, the executive, I'm speaking.
The executive.
When the executive be making
Oh.
a declaration?
Yes.
Yes.
And not the board chairman.
I think this is
Well,
only for our meetings.
This is only for our.
It doesn't affect anything else.
Well, this appears to be a good way for the
Yes.
chairman to control.
I do agree with what you're saying. It was not my original intent. But at the same time, let's say there is an emergency. I do think we shouldn't sit here for the sake of, if there's a real emergency, we should be out there helping.
I really believe if there's an emergency of that nature, then the board would recognize it, and we don't need the chairman to do that. This gives him a power that I could not yield. So I would not support this.
I pull my sponsorship.
Okay, sponsorship is full. Next resolution is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 4, Rule 29B, sponsored by myself. I'd look for a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Legislator Kelly. This resolution changes the informational memorandum required to accompany resolutions to reflect all resolutions. I would like to, after discussion with the county exec, I would like to make an amendment to this resolution. And I'm going to pass around the amendment.
Because it involves the county attorney, but there was not a resolution following this one. Rule 25.
Rule 25.
Unless they're not in order, because it goes from 18, or 19 rather, to 29. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
intended or not.
Cheryl, can you?
In Rule 25, you appear to have a proposed amendment, but there doesn't appear to be a resolution that corresponds to it.
I think that,
Maybe Mark.
from what I understood, it was a question, and it was not, we didn't put it together as a resolution. That doesn't necessarily mean that you could choose to.
Oh, it's not a language change?
No, that was just a question.
It was just a
In
question,
the beginning,
yeah.
I didn't know if the county attorney was required to be present
That's
at our
fine.
meetings to
Yeah.
provide the guidance.
The copy of the existing rules that I have here is missing that page, so I couldn't compare it.
So the amendment that I would sponsor, after talking with the exec, we recognized that Rule 29, which governs how resolutions come to be, does not address the office of the executive at all. The resolution, or the amendment, would change language in Rule 29 to require that all resolutions requested or proposed shall be submitted to the office of the executive and carbon copied to the clerk of the legislature at least 10 calendar days prior to a committee meeting. It also adds a clause that states that all resolutions requested or proposed by any legislator shall be submitted directly to the clerk of the legislature. And this would basically write into our rules what we've been practicing since day one, that all resolutions are going through the executive's office. However, for exactly what we're doing now, if a legislator wants to bring forth a resolution, it can come directly to legislature. So I would look for a second on the amendment.
I second the amendment.
Seconded by Legislator DeChessie. Discussion on the amendment. Legislator DeChessie.
I just want to be more clear on the division between the paragraphs there. In the first paragraph, we're talking about a department head submitting a request
Yes.
for resolution, and the second one, we're talking about a legislator.
Mm-hmm.
But it really doesn't say that in the first paragraph, does it?
It doesn't specify. Rule 29A, as it stands, does not specify where a resolution shall come from, because it was never, they all came to the clerk before. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, a resolution or proposal doesn't necessarily need to come from a department to the executive.
Well, the executive could propose one himself. Otherwise, I would tend to think that they would come either from members of the legislature or from departments. Is paragraph 1 designed to include, well, the language may partially answer the question, but resolutions proposed by the executive, or you know what you could do? You could change it to resolutions requested or proposed by any parties other than members of the legislature. And then that would encompass
Everybody.
everything else other than the 9 of you.
That'd be perfect.
Okay. So
I really like this resolution.
we don't have to amend the amendment, correct? We can just entertain that as, okay. So the amendment, sponsored by myself, seconded by Legislator DeChessie, the first sentence shall read, all resolutions requested or proposed by any member other,
I was going to say by any party other than members of the legislature.
and then pick up with the line.
You're right.
Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor of the amendment? Opposed? Resolution as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Next resolution is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 4, Rule 29DA, sponsored by Legislator Kelly. I'd look for a second.
Second.
Seconded by Legislator DeChessie. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Opposed? That passes. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 5, Rule 31, sponsored by Kelly. I'd look for a second.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I lost Article 4 or 5?
5.
Okay.
If I said 4, I apologize.
No, I'm lost.
There's actually a typo in the resolution. It should
Oh.
say Article 5.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I was looking out for it, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's
I
correct
was-
in the heading, but not in the resolve. Yeah.
Okay, so it's, the resolve clause is Article 5. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll treat that, I'd look for a second on that.
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by legislator Beniak. The sponsors are okay with correcting the resolve clause to read Article 5. Is,
I treat that as a typographical
okay,
error.
okay. Any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next is a resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, further changing Article 5, Rule 31, sponsored by legislator Kelly. I would look for a second.
Second.
Seconded by legislator DeChessie. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Opposed? That passes. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 5, Rule 31.1, sponsored by legislator Kelly. I'd look for a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by legislator DeChessie. Any discussion? Hearing none, recommendation to move to the full board. All in favor? Opposed? That passes. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of the procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 5, Rules 31.2 and 31.3, sponsored by legislator Beniak, and I would second this resolution. Is there any discussion?
What is the purpose of this? Why do you?
I'll turn the floor over to you.
Oh, okay, thank you, Chairman. Basically, non-employee insurance would be general liability, which includes buildings and grounds, you know, all the property, the assets, and things like that. And it's, and we actually did some research with other counties, and most of them had it under general services.
Any other discussion? All in favor of moving the resolution to full board?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 5, Rule 31.3, sponsored by Kelly. And I would second this resolution. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board?
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes. Next is a resolution amending standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, further changing Article 5, Rule 31.3, sponsored by Kelly, and I will second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Opposed? And that passes. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 5, Rule 32.1, sponsored by Kelly. And I will second this resolution. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Opposed? And that passes. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 5, Rule 39A, sponsored by Kelly. I would look for a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by legislator Beniak. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Opposed? And that passes. Next is a resolution amending standing rules of procedure Procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, adding Article 5, Rule 42A, sponsored by Kelly. I would look for a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by legislator Deniak. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to full board? Opposed? And that passes. Next is a resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, changing Article 5, Rule 47, sponsored by Kelly. I would look for a second.
Second.
Seconded by legislator DeChessie. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of moving to the full board? Opposed? And that passes. The last resolution on the agenda is a resolution adopting the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature. I will sponsor this resolution. This resolution will adopt in full form the rules as amended this evening, with the one, not with an exception, but it will not include the one resolution that failed. Just to clarify, I would look for a second.
No, and the one that was removed. There was one failed.
There was one that was
And
pulled.
one I pulled.
Right, one was pulled, one was failed.
Could we change, if we're going to adopt any rules and procedures, could we change this to say legislature
Yes.
and this?
I recommended to Cheryl during the meeting here that all of these, in the heading of all of them, if that really should be resolution amending the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature, not TORs, not legislators.
I'm referring to the one that we originally
Yeah.
adopted in January.
Yeah, the title.
Yeah, I would, that's, yes.
Does that need to be done by, to change the header?
No, it's a typo.
Well, the heading should reflect the proper title of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Okay. Did I have a second? I would look, second by legislator Kelly. Discussion, legislator Kelly.
Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking, but back when we we changed the title of finance to budget and finance, as the charter says, there's another committee in the charter, the Fiscal Services Committee. So would it be, can we also change the general services to physical services so it just matches what the charter says?
What rule is that?
32 point something.
31.3.
So we would need another resolution and sponsor in a second.
You would need, yeah.
Now, since we have a resolution on the floor that's been sponsored and seconded, can another resolution be heard?
Well, technically, you're on discussion on this final one on the agenda.
And I didn't want to vote on this one because it would close the.
I would suggest that you, as chairman of the committee, defer action on the one that you're presently discussing and revert back to what is being proposed, if you're agreeable to doing that.
That's what we'll do. We will postpone action on the resolution that's on the floor for the moment to entertain a resolution by legislator Kelly to, let me get through that.
31.2.
Would you like the wordage?
So we're, like we've done the others, we're changing
Yeah.
31.2 that says general services to physical services.
Physical services.
I'll second that resolution. Is there any discussion? All in favor of moving that resolution to the full board? Opposed? That passes. We will resume discussion on the resolution adopting the standing rules of procedure of the Montgomery County Legislature. Any discussion?
Just as a typo, I think that the word is really should be are in resolved.
Okay. You got that? Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of moving to full board? All right. Opposed? That passes. Any other topics to come before the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to mention that there's some really nice work put in tonight. I certainly appreciate Martin's work and yours too. Thank you.
Any other? I would entertain a motion to adjourn. The motion has been made by legislator Kelly. Is there a second? Seconded by legislator Duchesne.
I heard it was supposed to take 2.5 hours.
I know, I thought it might.